A federal judge on Monday tore into the Trump administration over its failure to give fair legal treatment to a group of migrants after a lawyer for the migrants in the case confirmed her team had still not been given phone access to them. The deportees from countries including Vietnam, Cuba, Laos, and Mexico have been stuck in the East African nation of Djibouti amid a legal fight over their expulsions. Their intended destination was South Sudan, a country teetering on the brink of civil war. A U.S. district judge in Massachusetts has now accused the government of mischaracterizing an order which required it to provide detainees sufficient notice before removal to countries where they have no ties and, quote, manufacturing the very chaos they decry. Joining us now, New York Times White House correspondent Tyler Pager. Welcome, Tyler. So the federal judge on Monday called this a mess of the administration's own making. And I want to read part of the memo on this. Here's the quote. It turns out that having immigration proceedings on another continent is harder and more logistically cumbersome than defendants anticipated. However, the court never said that defendants had to convert their foreign military base into an immigration facility. It only left that as an option, again, at defendants' request. To be clear, the court recognizes that the class members at issue here have criminal histories, but that does not change due process. And Tyler, the judge says he's been given no choice but to find that they were in violation of the preliminary injunction. So what happens now?
Yeah, I think that's a good question that a lot of people are trying to figure out. And I think what's important here, Alex, is that last point that you read. The judge is not contending, as we've seen across many of these cases, the judge is not contending that there is criminal histories involved with some of these men. What he is focused on is their due process claims and their ability to fight deportation. In many of these cases where we've seen the administration at war with the courts, it's over this exact issue, the ability for these individuals to fight the deportation claims before they are deported. And there is a long, history, it's very clear what the individuals, their rights are in terms of due process. The judges have set out very clear standards of what they expect these individuals to have access to, and what the judges are fighting back is the Trump administration, which they say, and the defendants, lawyers are saying, are violating their rights on this specific fighting of the deportation, not the fact that they could eventually be deported, but they have access to fight it before they are in fact deported.
So, Tyler, it's not like the Trump administration doesn't have third country deals with countries in this hemisphere. Do you have any reporting, any insight on the decision to send this particular group literally across the world, and why the pivot from South Sudan to Djibouti?
Yeah, well, I think this was part of an effort of getting them eventually to South Sudan. It's unclear why they stopped there. I was at the CBP headquarters last week when the administration announced this deportation flight. And one of the things just to point out is that the administration is very focused on these individuals' criminal history. They are not really interested in engaging, at least publicly at this point, outside of the legal proceedings, with the details of the fight with the courts. As we've seen from the president and from his top administration officials, they're arguing that these judges should have no right to stop the deportation of these men, focusing on their criminal histories. But we asked questions of these officials about why South Sudan, what are some of the arrangements, and they've deferred all questions to the State Department. It's unclear exactly how these deals are being made, but you're right, Alex, they are clearly focused on trying to find countries willing to accept these men. The lawyers for these men are raising concerns about the conditions that these men would be held in these countries that are not, war torn and lack the sort of stability to potentially hold these men moving forward.
Do you have a sense of the rules for removals to third countries and how they choose the countries? I mean, we've got El Salvador, Libya, South Sudan, now Djibouti. How do they choose them?
Yeah, these are negotiations that the State Department is working through. They're, one of the challenges that the administration has identified is that the countries that these men have come from do not want them back. So there are clear rules that CBP and the Department of Homeland Security, there are outlined in terms of what steps they can take if the home country of these individuals is not willing to accept them. There are certain time limits that they have to pursue other options. It's clear in the case of El Salvador that Bukele, the leader there, wants to firm up ties with the United States and with the Trump administration. We saw that play out in the Oval Office. So this is an opportunity for some of these countries to develop better relationships with the Trump administration in the United States by agreeing to be willing to take some of these men into their custody.
Okay, Tyler Pager, thank you so much for weighing in.